Thank you. This is Thursday Night Football with Calvin Dean, sponsored by the NFL Network. Wow, do we have a show for you today? Whew! It's going to be fun. It's going to be all about fantasy football, people. It has started. Wow. It's going to be fun. I am going to tell you who to draft and who not to draft. It's going to be a winning year for all of you who are listening to this podcast. First of all, my heart and prayers goes out to the Blake family out in Wisconsin. He was gunned down, unarmed, African American, gunned down by a renegade police officer who attempted murder of this young African American, attempted murder of a young African American, shot him in the back. Had no weapon on him. 2 kids in the car. The officer shot him in the back. Terrible, and terrible. I don't condone the riots that are going on right now, but I understand them. People are furious. I am furious. If you aren't furious, then shame on you. Shame on you. The NBA players stopped playing. They're not playing tonight. And I'm telling you, they might not finish playing with the season. Earlier today, they came out with a statement saying that the season will resume on Saturday. But it's not 100%. And I want to tip my hat to the NBA, the Players Association, for sitting down. Because realistically, guys, the majority of the NBA players are African American. The majority of the NFL players are African American. The majority of all these owners, what are they? The majority of the owners in the NBA and the NFL and baseball are white men. Shameful. Very shameful. Another thing that's shameful. We have systemic racism in the United States that sickens me. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Jacob Blake. It goes on and on, guys. It goes on and on. And when is enough enough? Think about it. When is enough enough? Just saddens me, that's for sure. All right. Ready, people? Let's get on with the show. We're going to talk fantasy football today. Yes. Thursday Night Football, Calvin Dean. We are all about fantasy football, people. 3 running backs you have to watch out for, meaning they're going to be busts. Now, there's one running back in New York who is proclaiming that he is it. He's been the best shape of his life. He's lost pounds. He's lifted more weights. He's faster. Yada, 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 yada. His name is Le'Veon Bell. Well, that New York Jets offensive line, I'm sorry, guys. What did he do last year? 800 yards, 240 carries. Wow. I don't see it happening with Mr. Le'Veon Bell. I think he's definitely past his years. He needs a team like Dallas to thrive on, or Pittsburgh. Hello. or an Indianapolis with an offensive line that's massive. That would be a great team for Le'Veon to, land on. But the New York Jets, I would watch out. If it was me, if I was picking Jones from Tampa Bay and Le'Veon Bell, it would be an easy pick. It would be Jones, or Henderson from the Rams. Henderson. I mean, you have to know who's going to be a bust and who's not. And you don't want to have a Le'Veon Bell on your team and thinking, oh, man, I had a great pick. No, you didn't. Sorry, people. You didn't. Whoever has had a draft lately and Le'Veon Bell is sitting on your bench or sitting on your team, try to trade him before the season starts. Do yourself a favor. Another running back who was one of my favorite running backs. One of my favorite. Until his knee gave out, and he now has an arthritic knee, and he's just never going to be the same. I mean, I could attest to that. I have arthritis in my one hand from shattering it playing baseball, and man, it's hurting now, and I mean, it will hurt your whole entire life. And arthritis keeps getting worse. There's no fixes for arthritis, guys. There's just no. I mean, you can shoot it up, but there's nothing to fix. You can take pills. You can shoot it up for now, and it'll be throbbing, won't be hurting, but Todd Gurley. I would stay away from Todd Gurley. I really would. He's going to be a part-time running back, not full-time. Love the Atlanta Falcons this year. Love them. But with Todd Gurley, I don't know, guys. You just have to realize that his health status is he was reported walking with a noticeable limp. Already limping. Todd Gurley limping when he's walking. If you've drafted him already, if you're thinking about drafting him in the future, take that right out of your mind. And throw it out, because he's going to be a bust. He might even be hurt before the season begins. He's done, guys. He's done. Will be the last year of Todd Gurley. I can guarantee you that. Either that, or I think he'll retire. I really do. After this year, he's not going to be the same that he used to be. That's for sure. It's sad, but it's true. True. The next running back to be questionable, Josh Jacobs, Las Vegas Raiders. Now, Josh, got hurt last year, but he played hurt. Had a good year, he's just something about Josh, the way he runs. He's so aggressive, and he is just miserable when it comes to the passing game. He's terrible. He's terrible. I just, he has less than 2 catches a game. Less than 2 catches a game. I think his average is like 1.5 catches per game. Less than 2 catches a game. This is 2020, guys. Think about it. All the great running backs that are happening. Damian Williams, Eckler, all these backs, they can catch it out of the backfield. They can get that screen. Zeke, goes on and on. All these great running backs that, are good out of the backfield. And Jacobs is just not. He doesn't do well. He's, like he said, he's a downhill, north-south runner. He'll run over you, but I'm telling you, if you have a choice, if you have that choice and it comes up, and it's Josh Jacobs or Dave Johnson from the Houston Texans, take Johnson. man. Or take Jones from Tampa Bay even. Josh Jacobs, he's going to be a bust this year. He's just not going to score the points that you need for fantasy football, especially from the running back situation. Now let's get to how to draft and who to draft when your turn comes up. You have to be aware of players. Who is going to be hot and who is going to be not this year. How their team did last year. And who makes their team better this year. What players? Will the team be as good as last year? Will they be that way? It's like the San Francisco 49ers. Emmanuel Sanders is gone. That deep threat is gone. Debo is hurt right now. He's coming back slow. It's, now, mind you, they have a great running game, the San Francisco 49ers, but when you lose a deep threat like Emmanuel Sanders, it takes away from your team. So you have to know all of these things that are going on. You just have to know. You have to learn. You have to read. And I was fortunate enough, I was in a Yahoo League the other night. I picked number 1. I got the first pick. Now, mind you, you're in great standing. Great standing when you pick the first pick. When you have the first pick, most likely your percentage rate to win that league that you're in is, I would say, good 75%. Good 75% you will win that league that you're in. So it's really important. It's really important how to pick teams. Okay, so here it is. I'm first pick. Of course, who am I going to pick? Come on. First pick off the bat, Christian McCaffrey. That's bar none. I'm sorry. That right there, you have to pick him. He's a monster when it comes to points, fantasy points. He's just a monster. Out of the backfield, he scores. He is just, like I said, he's a monster when he runs. His receptions last year, he had over 1,000 yards in receptions last year, 1,005 yards in receptions, 4 touchdowns in receiving, 15 touchdowns when it comes to running. He had over 1,387 yards in rushing yards, and a total of 19 touchdowns for the year. I'm telling you, a total of 322 fantasy points he had last year. He is definitely the number 1 pick of all, and especially this year. I mean, you have Bridgewater going there. You have Mr. Robbie Anderson going to that team, which he is a deep threat. And with Bridgewater there, oh my God. Guys, see, they have all those targets now. The wideouts what a great team they have. They're going to be impressive. And that's just going to open up the running lanes for Mr. McCaffrey. You're going to have more guys you have to cover, and then you have to cover Christian. Wow, he's going to have a huge year. So that, right then and there, I was like, yeah, I'm in the driver's seat. But how is the draft going to come to me back? How is that going to happen? And my second and third pick, that's where you win. That is when you win. Your second and third pick of the NFL draft this year is key, especially if you are the first person picking. So my second pick was DeAndre Hopkins of the Arizona Cardinals. I think he's one of the best wideouts in the NFL. I surely do. I think him and Julio Jones are the two top wideouts. DK Metcalf, another one that's coming up. So I'm telling you, people, that second and third pick, if you are number one, that's key on how to mold your team. My second pick, DeAndre Hopkins. Of course, I'm number one, first pick of the draft. That means I get back-to-back picks when it comes around my way. So I get the second, and then the third pick on my draft team was Chris Godwin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chris Godwin, wow. I mean, just the guy is wow, and you just have to realize that when you're picking your team, who you pick and how you mold that team around you, that's the most important part about that. And, my team that I picked altogether, I'm going to give you who I picked. Now, mind you, in the fourth round, you're going to hear something I'm going out on a limb on this one. I really feel on this one. And I'm telling you that one man who I picked as a quarterback on my team, on this team, is Mr. Tom Brady. Wow. He is going to be having, last year, he threw over 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. This year, with the team that he's on, sleeper, home run quarterback this year, people. So my whole entire team was just, I picked, this is my team. This is what I ended up with. I'm not going to go over every single pick of mine, but this team right here is a championship team. I will win the championship with this team. I guarantee you that. My quarterback, Tom Brady. My wideouts, DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin, T.Y. Hilton, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs III. Just amazing wideout group. Now, my running backs, McCaffrey, hello. R. Jones II from Tampa Bay, huge. He's going to be huge. Tom Brady loves to throw to him. Loves to throw to the running backs. He is the number one running back in Tampa Bay. He is going to light it up this year with Mr. Tom Brady. Now, my tight end, Mark Andrews, Baltimore. Huge year last year. They had 3 great tight ends on Baltimore. Hurst is gone. He went to Atlanta Falcons. So I'm telling you, Mark Andrews is going to play more. He's going to have a huge year for Mr. Mark Andrews. My other bench running backs are Mr. David Johnson from the Houston Texans. He might even be a starter. I think he's definitely in the neighborhood of being a starter on any football team in fantasy football. Mr. Coleman from the San Francisco 49ers. They use a 2-back system. They did have a 3-back system with Breda. Breda was traded to the Miami Dolphins. And so they have Coleman and Mozart. And, they switch on and off. Whoever's hot, Shanahan just keeps that person in. So it's a crapshoot. But I think both running backs will have close to probably 100 yards each per game. So that's a great pickup to have Mr. Coleman. Now, I'm telling you, it's, you have to have some good backups, so I have 2 great running back backups, which I'm excited about. And my backup quarterback, Mr. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati, had one of the premier seasons in college last year. The guy is, bar none, he's going to be a great, great, great player. Unfortunately, he's on the Cincinnati Bengals. That's the only unfortunate part, but that's my backup with Mr. Brady. You always have to have another quarterback on your roster for when Mr. Brady is his bye week. Make sure that the quarterback that you picked, your second quarterback, doesn't have the same bye week as the one that you picked first. Just make sure that. My kicker, the best in the league, Mr. Jason Tucker from the Baltimore Ravens. Just lights out. Sorry, best. And then I took 2 defenses. One, I took the Baltimore Ravens. I think their defense is going to step up this year. Unfortunately, they had some turmoil in the safety, the safety area of their defense. But I think they'll definitely still shore it up, and they're losing a legend, but the guy's getting up there. But then we have the New England Patriots, my other defense, and they're going to be solid. So you don't have to watch. When don't pick your defense, off the bat in the 3rd or 4th or 5th. You have to wait. Pick your defense near the end of the rounds. I mean, defenses only score you anywhere from 8 to 9 points, 10 points, And yet, there's not. Some defenses will come alive one game. They'll score 3 touchdowns and wow, But, those are the defenses like the Chicago Bears or the Pittsburgh Steelers, mind you, great defense, or the Buffalo Bills, great defense. Baltimore Ravens, another great defense. New England Patriots, another good defense. And another sleeper is the Arizona Cardinals. That's going to be a sleeper defense. Mind you, they will probably score points. They'll probably allow some points too. But on the other hand, I think they'll score some points with the sacks and the stuff that they can produce. But my picks definitely Baltimore Ravens and New England Patriots. Definitely a force. This team I have, starting is just wow. I feel sorry for everyone and anyone who has to play me. That's for sure. And what I like about the fantasy football from Yahoo is that they give you grades after you draft your team. You get an email telling you what the grade is. And my grade was an A-. I think I got the minus was maybe Tom Brady, but I think he's going to have a huge year. So I really do. He had over 4,000 yards last year with an offense that had Edelman, and Sony Michel. Not much of anything else to work with. But with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, wow, he's got a ton working with. The next person that on the radar was a B, and he picked some great players. He picked Zeke, and he picked Deontay Adams and Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake's a good pickup. He's going to have a huge year. I don't think Devontae Adams is going to have a huge year. The Green Bay Packers just failed badly when it came to this year's draft. So I feel sorry for all the Green Bay fans because this year, and mind you, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell everyone this. You're not going to have teams this year going 14-2, 15-1. You're not going to have any teams like that. There's a lot of teams in the NFL that are going to win one week and lose the next. I mean, it's going to be like that. I think there's going to be a lot of surprises this year. Atlanta Falcons is going to be a surprise, guaranteed. The Los Angeles Rams are going to hold their own. San Francisco 49ers are going to hold their own. New Orleans Saints, I think they're the favorites for the NFL. You know, they are definitely the favorites. Bringing back Breeze for one more year. You know, Kamara, he's healthy this year. And then they have they have just a great team. You know, Emmanuel Sanders, they added him, and I'm telling you, New Orleans looks great this year, but they're not going to end up being 14-2 or 12-4 or even 11-5. I just don't see that division, one team dominating that much. I just don't see it. I see that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are another team that's going to just shine. They're going to have a huge year. I even predicted them to go into the Super Bowl this last March. If you listen to all my podcasts in March, you'll hear my prediction on who's going to be in that Super Bowl. Now, do I think my prediction right now is somewhat premature? No, I don't. I really believe that Tampa Bay will be in the Super Bowl. I truly believe that. I think they have a phenomenal team. I think Bruce Arians is a great coach. I think he's really going to take this team to another level. And Tom Brady. Sorry, guys. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Greatest of all time is Tom Brady. That's for sure. And even if he's 43, the guy's in great shape. He's been throwing dimes in practice. Dimes, 60-yard dimes. Guy still has the arm. You know, he keeps in incredible shape. So I truly believe that's going to happen. And getting down to, your picks and stuff. This guy who was in my draft league, my draft for the league I'm in Yahoo, he drafted, the Minnesota Vikings defense. Now, mind you, I think the Vikings defense is on the decline. I think they're going to tail off in fantasy football points this year. And it's just that that's the things you have to watch. Now, Mr. Ertz, that's a great pickup. He picked up Zach Ertz. He's going to have a huge year with Wentz back in the saddle. So you got to watch him. That's for sure. And then see, the thing of it is that then you have guys who, like my team. My team was the only team that had the A status in picking. And then you have another team with two great running backs with a B. They have Dalvin Cook and Miles Sanders and Aaron Jones. That's three great running backs this guy has on his team. And he even picked up Keenan Allen. Wow. That's some great picks. Some great picks. Let's see what the C pick. You get report cards and you can see everyone's picks. And you should do that when you're playing fantasy football. You should look at everyone's picks. Because then you're going to say, you know what, I picked three great running backs. Who am I missing? And then you go to all these other teams and their picks, aren't as great. They just aren't. And you're thinking, how can I trade with this person and give them knowledge on why this trade is a better trade for them? Like there's a guy who he picked Tyreek Hill and Kelsey and Kyler Murray as their 1, 2, and 3. Now, mind you, Kyler Murray, he's great. He's going to have another great year. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. That's great picks. But then on the other hand, who's his running backs? He picked Kerryon Johnson. Well, the Detroit Lions, they drafted another running back that's been doing really good in practice. And Mike Williams, they even picked Mike Williams as their other wideout, but Mike just got hurt, and he's, Mike Williams from the Los Angeles Chargers. He's okay. I don't see this team going that far. Their team, I'm looking at their team. I'm looking at it maybe a 3-11 season. When it comes to fantasy football, it's 14 games. And then you get into playoffs. So, when you're getting a C when it comes to fantasy football, your picks, that means you got a losing season. You just have a losing season. And I have the guy who, now mind you, I picked first. I picked first. Okay, the guy who was his second pick, who got Saquon Barkley. Well, he picked Baker Mayfield as his quarterback. Maybe 5-9. Second, he's picked second. He's going to be 5-9. That's terrible. It's terrible. If you're first or second or third, you should be at least A or B when it comes to your grades, when you're drafting grades, not C. And this is terrible, man. It's terrible. I just don't see it happening. He picked up Josh Jacobs along with Saquon Barkley. Sorry, his name I'm having a hard time with. But then, I think Josh Jacobs is going to fall flat on his face this year. But he did have another good pick. He has George Kittle. Now Kittle is a great receiver, but he's a great blocker, and that San Francisco 49er team, they love to run. To do the play action and pass off to George Kittle. But when it comes to points, this guy picked his second pick and his third pick. Second pick was Josh Jacobs, and his third pick was George Kittle. I don't know. There was other guys out there that would have scored him more points. See, that's what I mean. When you have to, when it comes to picking, you just don't have to pick right away 2 running backs right away. You have to pick people who are going to, give you an edge when it comes to scoring and winning your fantasy football league. It's important, very important, guys. So you just have to realize who to pick and what to pick. Now, there's one running back that's going to really shine. I think the best team on this league that I'm in, one of the best leagues, I think some of these guys are really smart the way they actually picked. This next, Clyde Edwards-Helaire from Kansas City, the champions of last year, the Kansas City Chiefs. Clyde Edwards is a rookie. Now, you have to know that Damian Williams opted out this year because of the coronavirus. So, Mr. Edwards is looking really good in practice. And with all those weapons they have to throw to, and Mahomes, he's going to shine. He's going to be one of those running backs that are going to come out this season and just going to pop right away. He's going to score a lot of points. Nick Chubb, he has Nick Chubb as well. Nick Chubb is going to have a great season. Nick Chubb is just such a great running back. And then also he has Kenny Golladay from the Lions. Now, Matthew Stafford is back, people. He is back. Wow. That's huge because Kenny Golladay is a deep threat, over the middle threat. He's just a threat, period. one of the best wideouts in the NFL, Kenny Golladay. And Golladay is, I'm telling you, is going to have a huge year because Matthew Stafford is back. And then this guy who we're talking about, this one draft team, his name is Matthew, and Matthew drafted this team. This is the actual league that I'm in fantasy football league that I'm in on Yahoo, and he had another good pick, Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard went to Miami, and I'm telling you, he's going to be the number one running back in the Miami Dolphins. And he's going to be pretty good. And then he also had Jared Cook from the Saints, excuse me. And, his projected fantasy points, 135. So he's on the decline, Jared Cook. See, picks like that is where this person, his name is Matthew, his team, that's where he's losing. He's losing. His team will be probably 7-7 for the remainder of the year. So, and then we go to Frank's team. Frank's team is going to be pretty big. His number one pick was Mahomes. And his number two pick was Joe Mixon. Great pick. Now, Mixon right now is holding out because of contract talks. He's claiming he has migraines, but I think it's something different there. And then his third pick was Mike Evans. No, that's huge. Mike's going to have a huge year with Tom Brady. Wow. So those three players, he's good. This guy, he definitely. But then he picked Ben Roethlisberger. Ben's 38. He's had Tommy John surgery. They usually don't come back. It takes him at least 2 years to really come back and be where he was. I just don't see Roethlisberger putting up some big numbers this year. I just don't see it happening. So that's a definite question mark. And then he took Gronk. Now, Gronk's a good pickup, yet what you have to understand is that team has 3 tight ends. You have O.J. Howard, then you have Cameron Brake, and you have Rob Gronkowski. Wow. And then you have Evans and Godwin and Jones, and oh my God. All these guys, just nothing but weapons on that team. And when you have 3 tight ends, I know that Gronk and Brady are just like butter when it comes to playing together. But man, you still have a couple of other tight ends that he's going to definitely work into the mix. So I don't think Rob will have such a great year, but that's a good pick. That is definitely a good pick. So this league that I'm in is going to be somewhat a good lead. I think probably the best team other than my team. The next team will be maybe like 10-4, and that's the team with Zeke, Devontae Adams, Kenyon Drake, and Ertz. I think that team will definitely be a team to watch out for me, for my team. I think I probably will have like a 13-1 season. Probably lose a game, like the 8th game. I have to sit a lot of players, and the 8th game of the season, one of the bye weeks, I'm going to have to sit a lot of players of mine. So that's going to be hard to do. I probably will lose that game, but I really think I'm going to go 13-1. Anyway, guys, it has been fun. Hopefully this gave you guys some insight on how to pick your players and who's hot and who's not. I'm just going to go over, some great statistics next week about this. And I'm even going to start giving away paraphernalia. Yes, NFL paraphernalia. I'm going to give away in the start of the season every Thursday. Whoever writes me, I'm going to give you guys an email. Whoever writes me a great take on what they want to hear on this show, and then I'm going to present it. I'm going to give them their name. I'm going to say it over the air. I'm going to give them that fact and that notoriety, and then that person will win like a football jersey of their favorite football player in the NFL. And it's going to happen every single Thursday. So that is definitely going to be exciting. Something for everyone to, hey, tell your friends. Come listen to this podcast. And at the end of the podcast, I'm going to ask a question. And I want everyone to answer that question. And I want to give your take on that question. And then what you think I should talk about that next week. And the person who has the best story, the best sales job to me on why I should put in their story on this network, then you will win. Yes, you will win a jersey, a football jersey of your choice, your team, and it will be shipped to you for free. So, tell everyone, let everyone know how this is going to work. It's going to be fun. Tune in next Thursday. This is Calvin Dean with Thursday Night Football, sponsored by the NFL Network. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. See you next week. Calvin Dean.